Writer-director Antonio Campos is something of an expert in disturbed adolescence, his previous film After School playing like a feature-length audition tape for the role Ezra Miller eventually won in Lynn Ramsey's We Need to Talk About Kevin. For Simon Killer, Campos has relocated American adolescent malaise to Paris, where this time we watch Brady Corbett unravelling after a particular nasty breakup. I caught up with the filmmaker to talk about killers abroad and his very drunken Q&A the night before.
I moved in with her right after graduation. Things were, well, they were nice for a while. But then she wasn't happy anymore. I wasn't making her happy. She didn't like what she was doing. I tried to be supportive, encourage her not to settle. But then, I'm living at home now. Excuse me, I'm not feeling so well. Still feeling jet lagged. Tu comprends, jet lagged?
Yeah, don't worry. You still speak to each other?
No, not really. The way that it ended, she started coming home late from work, and one night she got into bed with me, and I moved to hold her, and I just smelled this smell on her.
What do you mean?
I'm sorry, maybe it's a little inappropriate.
No, go ahead.
I just smelled this guy on her. She smelled like sex, like sweat and latex, and this guy, whoever he was all over her. I mean, she denied it, of course, but it was clear. I don't know, maybe I overreacted. Oh, whatever. She's a whore. I'd like to meet somebody new.
Antonio Campos, welcome to the London Film Festival.
Thank you.
I must say, when Simon Killer was announced in the lineup, this was the first interview that I went after, so we're very excited to have you here with us. I was also at Monday's Q&A, and I've got to say, I've never seen a director blitzed on a combination of vodka and medicine and running up the aisles with a microphone like you were on a game show. Was it as much fun for you as it was for us?
I hope so. It was a one of a kind experience. I did not replicate that. I've never done that before. I've done Q&As where I've been just a little tipsy, but this medication I was on top of the alcohol just kicked in, and whatever was still in me from my days of doing stand-up came back, and I was having fun. So I was having fun, and it was all someone had written a tweet about Simon that was like dark, brutal, seedy film, mood lightened by drunken director Q&A. So if in that way it sort of gave a little levity at the end of the night, I'm happy about it.
Well, while the film is certainly very intense, we should say that it's not as in your face as the title might suggest. This is not about killing, but it's about a portrait of a sociopath. Is that fair to say?
That is fair, yeah. Yeah, it's not a gore movie. The film actually has only one real moment of violence, and it's I would say that the film is more interested in the sexuality, exploring the sexuality between the characters than it is about the violence. I mean, the violence is there. It's the undercurrent of the film, but what you get in terms of killing is we're just talking about There Will Be Blood as a film title that suggests something that's not delivered till the very end, in some ways.
Can you talk about the stylistic similarities between this and After School and how that has evolved between the two pictures? I'm thinking in particular, your use of panning shots.
I'm always um, I'm always interested. When for some reason, instinctually, when I get behind a camera and I'm looking through a viewfinder, I immediately start to sort of scan the room, almost in some ways to see the room, because I can see the room here, but I want to see the room the way that frame, the camera's seeing the room, and there's something about a pan that really affects me. And I've spent a lot of time over the years trying to control the speed at which I pan and the speed at which I zoom in and out, and understanding really what that conveys to an audience, and what you're revealing and also taking away as you pan across the room. You know, what are we leaving and what are we finding, and then how do we play with the audience's expectations, and also in terms of working with actors, a lot of times I don't necessarily tell them where they are in the frame. We set a sort of area. The camera's very controlled. It's not dogma style. You know, we're very much we've decided on an angle and on a move. And I like the actors kind of screwing it up a bit. You know, and after school there was a lot of actors who would get the shot perfect, and then I just wouldn't give them marks, and so they would roughly end up in the same place, but they wouldn't end up in the perfect place, and that imperfection made the shot more interesting, and it makes it more alive for me.
Now, it seems to me that After School feels like it was a long time ago, at least to me. So I'm wondering, between these two films, you know, where you were at emotionally. I know that you had produced Martha, Marcy May Marlene.
Yeah, and Two Gates of Sleep as well.
Yeah. But in terms of writing the screenplay, you know, where were you at emotionally, and what were you wanting to say with the script?
The second film is the, I imagine, the hardest film, but then I'm sure that every film feels like the hardest film. But really, you know, there was a great deal of expectation I felt after school, and then, you know, and there are also just things that I wanted to keep thinking and find. I had been sent scripts and, you know, had opportunities to go after certain things that I didn't do because they didn't feel right, and then at a certain point when you've done that, when you've been very particular, you start getting kind of anxious and you want to make another movie, but you've also been so particular for so long. For you to back down from that it would be weak and would be dishonest. And so I was looking and when I started reading Simenon, George Simenon books, I became obsessive, and I read as many as I could, as fast as I could, and there was a kind of character in there that I was fascinated by, and kind of character that I, you know, had started to explore in After School, but a different version of him, but I wasn't interested in adapting a book. I was more interested in responding, exploring the themes and the kind of character this was, but in an American kind of way, and so emotionally I was probably lost trying to figure out a story. I found the story, and then the connecting tissue was that I had gone through a breakup and had kind of tried to figure that out. I had written another screenplay. Sorry, this is going on for a while, but you're making me think about 3 years before, and I'm going backwards. And so I had written another screenplay, and that was an emotionally draining screenplay to write. It was a very personal one, and it hasn't been made. And
will it be?
I hope so. It's not right the way it is now, and it has to get better. and I have to be in the right place to do it. But when and then when that wasn't working out, because I had written it, but it wasn't quite where I wanted to go, and I wasn't ready to go after it. I really was looking for something else, and we started making Martha, and that was a long process to get to Martha as well. It was about 2 years. Sean had been working on the script for 3 years maybe, and I had been working closely with him for about 2.5 of those years, and we finally got to make the film. And there was an anxiety about, I feel like I have to do something, I have to make something, and this thing came to me, this idea of Simon came to me, and I think it had been brewing for a while, and I was just in the right kind of dark state of mind to be willing to go there. And the fact is when some people say that, like, if you're in a dark state of mind, that, people sort of, oh, you should just make a comedy, you should laugh but you don't go there naturally. And something about going into an even darker state of, going into a character that's even darker than you, who's doing something that's so foreign from you, and that pushes you into a darker recess of your own mind, becomes very therapeutic, because you have, I think everybody has these things in them. We can understand characters that are so foreign from us, or so much, do things that we would never do. We can understand them, and seeing that play out is in some ways therapeutic, but also sort of going there is therapeutic. And Brady and I started working together on the script, and we both are two guys that have very strong relationships with women, very healthy relationships with women, very loving relationships. But we were fascinated by a character who had that, but had got it all wrong, and that he had close relationships with women, but they were manipulative, and his perception of the world was just missing the mark, missing the point altogether. But he was doing something. He needed women. This character needs women to coddle him, to take care of him, for him to take care of. But it's in a very selfish way, and that's what we were interested in exploring. So.
Hi, Michelle. I haven't heard back from you in a while. Not sure if you're getting my emails or if you're just ignoring me. I just wanted to see how you were. You could at least get back to me. There's nothing I could possibly do from here. I'm sending you my best. Simon.
From the Q&A, it seemed to me that Brady is as much the architect of the script as you are, and that it was devised through a rehearsal process. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, it was basically the original. So the original idea was mine, and I went to Brady. We started working on it, and we developed an outline together, and then we took this outline, and it was a weird process. It's not like we weren't following any model. We just sort of were doing it as we went along. Basically, it was, I had some scenes scripted very, very early on. I had some scenes in my mind that I didn't want to tell anybody because I was scared about how they were going to react. So I wanted to be very calculated about how I brought them out there for people, some of the sexual stuff. And then